Welcome to This Explainer. I'm your coach today, and we're diving into a core promise that honestly might sound a little too good to be true, but I promise you it's backed entirely by science. You only need 10 minutes a day. That's literally like 2% of your waking hours to completely transform your glutes. But here's the catch. It only works if you train with absolute, laser-focused intent. You know, most fitness advice out there completely overcomplicates what should actually be a really simple process. Just think about it for a second. Do you feel like you need those grueling, hour-long gym sessions just to see actual results? It's a super common fitness myth that more time automatically equals a better transformation. And honestly, that just leads to endless marathon sessions that completely burn you out. Let's go ahead and challenge that right now. The biological truth? It's a resounding yes. 10 minutes really is enough. Intensity and intent absolutely replace hours of aimless gym time. See, the glutes are actually the single most responsive muscle group in your entire body when you train them with focused, intense bursts. They recover super fast, and they actually thrive on frequency, not duration. So here's our blueprint for today. We'll be looking at why your glutes matter, science and glute amnesia, the big 5 exercises, the 10-minute system, fuel, recovery, and tracking, and finally, the 12-week blueprint. All right, let's jump straight into section 1, why your glutes matter. And trust me, it's about way more than just aesthetics. You see, aesthetic and functional goals actually reinforce each other perfectly. The shape you might want is the exact same thing as the function your body desperately needs just to move well. Your glutes are basically your body's posture engine. When they're strong, they hold your pelvis in a neutral position, which fixes poor posture. They're also an athleticism multiplier, directly increasing things like your sprint speed and jump height through explosive hip extension. Oh, and they act as this amazing built-in back brace to prevent and even cure lower back pain by stabilizing your spine. Plus, building this muscle gives you a massive metabolism boost, adding highly active tissue that just burns more calories around the clock. Moving on to section 2, science and glute amnesia. We're talking about the neurological switch. Now, we aren't just talking about one single muscle here. It's actually a group. You've got the gluteus maximus, which is the outermost layer that builds the sheer size and has a pretty even split of fast and slow twitch muscle fibers. Then, underneath and to the side is the gluteus medius. That one creates that highly sought-after upper shelf and really stabilizes your knee. Finally, tucked away at the deepest layer is the gluteus minimus, acting as your deep stabilizer. So to get that round shape, you really have to train all 3. So you might be wondering, why haven't your past workouts delivered the results you wanted? Well, the answer is often a condition called glute amnesia. Coined by biomechanics expert Dr. Stuart Miguel, this is basically a neurological condition caused by, you guessed it, excessive sitting. If you're sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day, your brain simply forgets how to efficiently recruit and fire those glute muscles. When you actually go to exercise, your hamstrings and your lower back just completely take over the work, all because your glutes are literally asleep. Fixing this neurological disconnect is absolutely crucial. Get this, research shows that simply focusing your attention on the glutes during a hip thrust can increase glute activation by 20 to 50%. No way, right? But it's true. The real solution to glute amnesia is the mind-muscle connection. Your intent and your mental focus literally change how your motor neurons command those muscle fibers to fire up. And one of the absolute best, easiest ways to build that connection is through tactile cueing. Notice how simply placing your hand on your glute while you're working out gives your brain a direct, physical line to activate that specific muscle. Waking the glutes up with a touch or really focused squeeze before you even lift is completely non-negotiable if you want to see changes. Okay, section 3, the big 5 exercises. Consider this your mini masterclass. These 5 core movements right here, they produce 90% of your total glute development. Honestly, you do not need 100 different fancy exercises. The barbell hip thrust gives you maximal activation for hip extension. The squat gives you deep hip extension and a massive stretch at the bottom. Lunges offer crucial single leg stabilization. The Romanian Deadlift, or RDL, is incredible for eccentric loading. And finally, the Glute Bridge is perfect for isolation burnouts. Now, when you perform these with a controlled 3-1-1-1 tempo, meaning 3 seconds down, a pause, 1 second up, and a hard 1 second squeeze, you absolutely maximize the tension and the growth.
Next up is section 4, the 10-minute system, because structure always beats duration.
Let's break down exactly what your 600-second session looks like. First, a 2-minute warm-up using dynamic movement to get your heart rate up. Second, 2 minutes of activation, stuff like clamshells to wake those glutes up before you actually lift. Third, 5 minutes of working sets, where you'll do high-intensity loading using our Big 5 exercises. And finally, a 1-minute finisher. This is a metabolic stress bomb taken to absolute failure to trigger those mTOR growth signals. This 4-phase framework scales seamlessly, whether you're a total beginner or an advanced lifter. And hey, if you don't have a gym, no problem at all. If you're stuck at home without equipment, single leg variations and a highly controlled tempo can literally double the load on the working glute without adding a single pound of external weight. You can just use household items, like a sturdy chair for elevated bridges, and still get incredible results simply by manipulating your leverage and your time under tension. Let's look at Section 5, Fuel, Recovery, and Tracking. This is all about the unseen growth. Now, here is a really crucial truth that you need to remember. You do not build muscle during those 10 minutes of exercise. The workout just breaks the muscle down. You actually build the muscle afterward. This unseen growth relies entirely on progressive overload. Over time, you have to challenge the muscle more than you did last time. Adding a little more weight or even just squeezing out one extra rep is the ultimate engine of your physical transformation. Without it, you're going to stall. But to actually recover from that overload, you gotta have the right fuel. You want to eat in a slight caloric surplus, especially if building is your primary goal, and consume adequate protein for muscle repair. But most importantly, you need 8+ hours of sleep per night, and you absolutely must allow 24 to 48 hours between heavy glute sessions for supercompensation to happen. Sleep is literally the single most important recovery variable here. 70 to 80% of all your muscle repair happens while you're fast asleep in bed. And when you're tracking all this awesome new muscle, listen closely. Ignore the bathroom scale. Seriously, the scale lies about body composition. The absolute truth? That lies in your progress photos, your tape measurements, specifically aiming to improve that aesthetic waist-to-hip ratio, and your lifting performance in the gym. Look, if your weights are going up, you are succeeding, no matter what that little number on the scale says. All right, our final section, Section 6, the 12-week blueprint. This is where we put it all together. I want to be super direct and manage your expectations with this timeline. Week 4 is all about neural adaptation. You might not see massive visual changes just yet, and that's okay, because your brain is simply learning to properly fire the glutes. But by week 8, we hit hypertrophy. This is where the magic really happens, and those muscle fibers actually grow to produce visible physical changes. And then by week 12, you achieve peak strength, fully cementing your brand new foundation. I always tell people quitting in week 3 is the single most expensive mistake you can make in fitness, because during week 3, it feels like nothing is happening. But underneath the surface, everything is happening neurologically. You just have to stick with these small daily habits. Give it that 4 to 8 week timeline, because they will absolutely compound into the visible results you're looking for. The core philosophy of the Sculpt Method is incredibly simple, and I love this quote. The body you want is not built in a single heroic effort. It is built in 60 small ones. Transformation isn't about exhausting marathon workouts that leave you completely drained. It's about daily consistency, just 10 minutes at a time. So what does this all mean? It means it's time to ask yourself, are you ready to stop guessing and start following a proven system? If you want to take the guesswork out of your fitness journey and get the complete 12-week program, grab the full Sculpt Method ebook. The link is right down there in the description. It includes all the detailed exercise breakdowns, meal plans, and troubleshooting guides to get you exactly where you want to be. Start your 10 minutes today. Seriously, if 2% of your day could completely change how you move, feel, and look a year from now, what's your excuse for not starting tomorrow? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep building.